Okay. Okay, people, this is quite a momentous gathering. It's Sabine McNeil in her almost 80. It's Angie in her late 60s, and it's Rupert. Hi, it's Rupert. Rupert Quaintance, Rupert Wilson Quaintance the third from
Fourth.
America. All characters
The fourth.
in the Hampstead case. Uh, Both Sabine and Rupert were imprisoned. Also, Alan Allenson was. Jake Clark was sectioned. Arthur
John
was sectioned.
on Patterson.
John Patterson is still in mental health. Different people were gagged. Rupert's been under a 5-year gag after being imprisoned and after being held as a political prisoner. So it's just momentous. And to be honest, I want to step back and let these two previous imprisoned activists compare notes. So here we go. Rupert and Sabine, go ahead.
Well, Rupert, I got groomed by Tom, who pretended to be the producer at Story Films and who eventually came a day early with Emily, the director. But Emily, at the end of filming, admitted that she was in touch with the Hampstead mothers. That's when I said to Tom, I'm sorry, I trusted you. That's it in a nutshell. How about you?
Well, when I saw the release, I had a phone call with her, and I feel like I was a bit stern with her, but I felt that the over inclusion of these people in every single aspect of this is exactly what's up. It's, to me, um they they're playing that up for some reason. She said that she felt like she needed to make them a part of it. They don't appear in it. What she said is that it's set up so they didn't have to appear in it. But I feel like it's an over inclusion, and I'm more so thought in the beginning that they were concerned with my aspect of the story, but it seems like a 4-hour interview put down into 6 minutes. They're just gonna try to make me look unhinged. And so what I know about entertainment is, especially with these kinds of projects, people come in and come out. Tom may very well have been the overseer of the project, but in entertainment, people get shuffled around a lot. I'm not in their world enough to know what the real deal is, but um, do I feel taken by it? Maybe a little bit, but either way, they're gonna see our face on TV, so whatever.
They say,
Well, I'm
sorry.
sort of beyond caring by now as well. But when I saw the release, I was shocked because that's the narrative of my court case.
Yeah.
Did
Well,
you realize that?
of course, the tabloids, the Daily Mail tabloids that came out about me came out basically dropped the day of, like, basically the last day of my court case. My legal team pulled me aside, and they were like, they got you. And I've been, I got paparazzi'd and written up by the Daily Mail. And all it was a worse version of the defense against me, which was cartoonish to me. It was not, they completely glossed over everything that was true for their own ends. And I found it to be a little bit not in line with you don't expect that out of people. You don't expect them to play so unfairly, especially when so many people are involved. But I guess I got taught a lesson that some people are willing to lie and throw anything they want at something to get their way. And that's exactly what they did. They got to color things the way they wanted to. They got to shut down information that needed to be in the court case, and they just got to have their way. And you can get your way. As far as I'm concerned, you can have your way all day, but if you didn't get it fairly, did you really get it? Or did you muscle your way into it?
Good for you. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I have my
Um,
eyes peeled the whole time. I mean, I'm paying attention to what's going on the whole time. You just can't say anything.
you can't say anything?
I kept my, for the second they threw cuffs on me, I didn't say anything. Like, I never even said anything to the beginning. All I said was, I don't like that. Whatever that is. I don't like that. That's what happened. And then, you know, they sick trolls on you and your family until you say something that they can use against you. It's the old give them the old 1-2.
Well, then you were more experienced and savvy than I was, because I thanked in my naivete Tom for being my therapist, because at least I could speak to somebody who knew about the situation. And he was a very good listener, whereas Emily, I only really met when they took me for dinner in the evening, and then they filmed all day long. And at the end of the filming, I realized that it was utter betrayal and that they were on the other side.
I would wait till we see the reactions to this when it comes out. Don't put too much stock. You never know what kind of life it's going to take on, and you never know what questions might come up after the fact. I don't think this is the end. I don't think that this documentary is the end. I think this is going to bring about more questions. And when they circle back to the people who very obviously have been mishandled and forced to shut up, there'll be more people, I guess. I don't know. I don't think they thought this out. This could have been discussed.
Very interesting, because my sense was that after I've been out for 2 years now, and have sort of gradually found my feet again, even though it was extremely hard, and even though I was recently completely traumatized by some Trojan spyware, which it was just a month ago, and which I'm still suffering from. And the film is, I mean, talking to Angie was partly really helpful to process the experience and to process the shock. And her media angle was valuable to me because she has that experience, which I don't have. Fortunately, friends did not send me the bad articles that were written about me. I just remember one headline that I'm Britain's worst troll, apparently. So it's a bit of a joke, but in this press release, if all they can do is label us as conspiracy theorists, well, I mean, at least Story Films made a living out of that film commission. But what they want to achieve, I really wonder, because as far as I'm concerned, SRA is not a secret anymore. It cannot be denied anymore. I put an article together of 22 pages about the terrible reality of SRA and the happy end of plausible deniability, because that's what a former police officer friend said to me. They always rely on plausible deniability, but they can't deny it anymore. And they can't deny believing the children. And that's all that matters as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And what I think will slowly happen is as far as I'm concerned, this is supposed to be a hit piece against the police.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely. This is don't count yourself out. We got treated roughly. And it's a stain on them. Don't think they thought it through. It's not, it was the way it was portrayed, the way it was drawn out, and the seriousness to which it was overly corrected speaks volumes. The fact that you're sitting there in front of the camera lets people know that something happened. Don't count out the fact that viewers will attempt to put themselves in your position. They will, and they'll wonder what really happened. Most normal people will do that. People with a bias, they're going to see it however they're told to see it. But if people are watching without bias, which is this entire thing is all about nationalism and bias. And don't worry about it. I feel super freaked out by it too. Like now I shot mine in not this past November, but the November before that. And it's a weird feeling. I mean, I've been a YouTuber since 2008, but actually having something that was shot, a couple of cameras, they set the whole place up like a little studio. You know, I haven't had that experience. I have had a lot of entertainment experience, but I haven't had that. So, it freaks me out. It does, but you're just gonna, it's just, we're on that train now. And regardless of how they decide to paint us, we still, what happened, happened. And it's up to us to say what happened.
Good for you and good for us. Thank you for this encouragement. So how did you realize that it was an entrapment?
Well, I mean, it's no secret that I got myself like wrapped up in this. Like we've all entrapped each other into this. Like I said something, they said something, these people said something, and it turned into a big fracas.
Really?
If you pan out and look at the whole thing, I mean, there's videos on the internet and people being angry, and these other people got angry, and the police got involved, and then enough people got involved in it that it just, to me, and I hate to say this, I hate to see anybody who's watching this that just has a hatred for me. I'm sorry, hiding behind scared mommies doesn't work. So you've thrown the kitchen sink at me and everybody else. That's it? Is that it? Because I made it through your gauntlet. I didn't even ever say what I actually thought about any of it. And I don't want to, I'm not a cantankerous person, but you don't get to have your way with me and then have me not turn around and be like, yeah, you're hiding, but you're absolutely hiding behind a bunch of scared mommies. I'm sorry, that trick doesn't work on me. I calls them like I sees them, and that's what it feels like. None of these, I got prosecuted for harassing people who I don't know, who I've never talked to, who I've never addressed. I was mad at people who seemed like they were hurting children. So if my comments are against people who are hurting children and you stand up and say I'm talking about you, what have you identified yourself as? Huh? That's what I want to know. And everybody thinks that I'm this and I'm that. I'm just an entertainer. I'm a drummer. I make videos, and we all got caught up in something. That's all I know. And I just ask anybody who was around me while I was living in England for a while. Ask the lifelong friends that I made in prison. Ask any of them people about me. And that's where you can just square that against terrified mommies, because even in a prison situation and other really bad situations, I'm still nice and I'm still helpful to the people around me. You can ask them about me.
Yes. So we are painted to be bad people, and as if that helps anybody, except that they will have to justify their souls by the time they die. I mean, that's a bit.
I'll just say, I never, like, if somebody had come up to me and said, hey, listen, this is, and just talk to me like a real person instead of harassing me and doing all sorts of stuff to the house I'm living in. And if they had just said, hey man, this is happening and that's happening, we don't know what you're thinking, but if you could, and I would have been like, yeah, I didn't know that was happening. Sorry, let me just, but it's some people, I'm not going to say who, seems like some people have an inability to not let things slide. And they also have some sort of viciousness to them where they need to act out what they want on other people. And that just paints a whole nother picture. It's like, who are you really?
Yeah.
I am what you wanted done to me. And okay, so that leads me to, you're putting all this on me and on these people. It leads me to say, well, what about you, who gets to hide in the shadows while everybody does your bidding? why does that tail get to wag the whole dog?
Okay, let me just interject here. For those that are not familiar with this, that goes back to 2015. So in 2015, 19 or 24, whatever, videos were released of two little children, 8 and 9, corroborating each other's evidence and disclosing horrific abuse. And then the leaking of these videos was blamed on Sabine, who got jailed for 12 years for that.
9.
Yeah, commuted to 9, but originally it was reported as 12 and then commuted to 9, of which she served 4.5 in her 70s and disabled. And a year after this disclosure, I was in a group on Facebook, and I was in a blog, Hampstead Research, which was amazing. And a year after the disclosures, this fairly famous American blogger, hi, it's Rupert, who had won an award on the Alex Jones show, and so he's fairly well known. It's pretty big. And he came back to his comments a year after he'd made a video about it. And he was amazed at, like, oh my God, what is this attack? You know, and he made another video a year after the disclosure saying, whoa, there's something weird here, the way people are reporting on this. And so in the Facebook group, somebody said, this guy in America, we could do with like asking him to help. So they said, well, somebody Skype him. And I said, yeah, I will. So I Skyped Rupert, and I really just thought at the time he had brilliant editing skills, and he had a long time presence online. And I just thought, you know what, maybe he'll like speak up. And Rupert said, I'll come over, I'll fly over, I'll do a documentary, I'll come on the front line. And he came to Europe on the front line. And even before he ever got to London, he was getting the most horrendous death threats, the most horrendous targeting of his family. And I think Rupert has some tweets to share with this regard. It was literally like, you come to London and we're going to kill you. It would literally, wasn't it? Am I telling the truth, Rupert?
No, I have all the screenshots. One of the main ones that was very frightening, and I still have the screenshot, was a Twitter account that basically said, we're going to put you in prison and we're going to find a way to spread a rumor about you that you did something to somebody and have you murdered. And I'm here to tell you that it came within moments of happening. And that's funny to the people that don't like me. Yeah, it almost happened. Do you feel better about yourselves? Is that what you wanted? There's a man, I'm not going to say his name on here, but there's a man that I'm friends with. He's a lifelong friend of mine. And he literally walked over there and put a stop to it because, well, let's face it, I don't want to tell too many secrets because there's certain things that I don't want to talk about, but there are ways for people who are in prison to find out information. And the ones who knew exactly what happened to me. They could tell by dealing with me and reading in what they found online exactly what happened to me. The targeting was terrible. They said they were going to eat me, they were going to kill me, and they were going to do all sorts of things to me. Well, where I come from, a verbal threat usually means that's something you're not going to do. You're just blowing off steam, which is what I was doing the whole time. It's just when some people feel a need to take someone literally, they definitely will, because it'll make it so that they can have their way. But the targeting was bad. It didn't do anything to me because, well, I took PR in college, so I know how to handle that. Well, when they weren't getting to me, they started involving my family. Yep. And that's, you don't really, like, I didn't mess with anybody's mama. Like, I said things out there that people went to find and decided it was about them. I never did that.
Yeah.
And I do, like, it does make me feel bad that people saw me like that, because it's just not the case. Like, that's just not it. It's like, yeah, we're rowdy over here. Like, Americans are rowdy, but it's just how we are.
And
where
it
we
was
grew up.
ca-
It's how we are. It's like we
yeah,
don't.
it was a cultural like disconnect, because where Rupert comes from, you can carry, most of his family have
I don't.
no, not you, but
Yeah, but
like,
we don't. Let's not talk about what my family
okay.
does or
So
doesn't
I
do.
just want to say one thing. Part of the trolling was a fake account was made in one of my children's names,
Yeah.
which then went after Rupert's mother and was being outrageously rude and disrespectful. And Rupert was and his mother were like, "What the?
Do you know what else they did?
Oh my God!" And I'm like, "That's not my son."
Yeah.
My son is like, "That's not me." But it's
They
like,
went through my Facebook list and they singled out as many like single girls as they could find, and they started texting them all the same thing, that they were in a relationship with me, just so in case they missed anybody in the crossfire, that they had like double coverage. They were hoping to like break me up from any girl I'm with, and like really try to isolate me.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
that's fun. I mean, that can be, it's kind of funny, but in the end of the
It's
day,
actually
it's not funny.
brutal. It's actually brutal.
Yeah,
It
but
can
they,
cause family breakdowns. It can cause relationship breakdowns. It can cause, I call it suicide trolling. What did you want to say, Sabine?
I never knew that. It was just, I
No.
find it also horrible.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
were sheltered. You were sheltered from, well, I say
Yeah.
sheltered, you were incarcerated. Do you know what I mean? So being offline is not necessarily being sheltered, but the trolling online has been horrendous. And I can't imagine what you two and others went through being incarcerated, but I could tell you that the secondary targeting is life ruining. It will ruin lives. It will.
I'm not having, I mean, with certain things, I'm having a very easy time. Like, certain things have worked out for me so that things are good, but there's certain other things that aren't progressing quickly enough for me. And I can't help but think that all of this had something to do with that. And,
Do you want to talk about your time? Like, Sabine has been very brave to speak out. She's only been out 2 years, and she's only been speaking out a few months. Do you want to talk about what it was like after you got repatriated or not, Rupert?
oh, wow. Yeah, we can talk about that.
How many people accompanied you from the airport to home? I had 3 teams of 5 each watching out to make sure that I don't run away.
Yeah, I had two, like, for most of the process, it was just 2 dudes. Like, and they were like really keeping an eye on me. They were telling me where to sit, where to do this, where to stand, and stuff like that. And I was done with it. I'm out. I don't want to deal with it. I'm supposed to get on a plane and go back. And they just put me on, they had to search me a million times in my stuff, but they just put me on the plane and that was it. Like, I behaved like a gentleman the whole time. I didn't yell at anybody. I didn't dump my emotions on anybody. I was helpful to everybody around me the entire time. And I wasn't gonna let that part stop me with these these guys all over me. But yeah, that was, coming back was difficult because I got singled out coming out of the airport because I didn't look right. I didn't have a suitcase. I didn't have a book bag. I had like the jail bag. I had the prison bag full of my stuff. And they immediately stopped me, and I was just a stuttering mess. Just like, I don't want to go back to, I don't want to get like held up here. There's people here to pick me up. And they were just like, what? And I was just like, yep, I just came out of England. I was in jail. I was in their prison for like 5 months, and they were like, are you serious? And I was like, yep. They acted like they wanted to search me, so I just assumed the position. But after a second, I realized I just put my arms down. They wrote something in my passport, and they let me go. And then I went and got in the car with my family. But that's where the weirdness started. Like, getting out of there was weird enough, but more and more weird stuff has happened, and we could maybe do another podcast about some of the stuff that happened to me in California. I don't want to bring that up now, but that was
100%.
also really
100%.
awful. Another possible second attempt at targeting me while isolated.
Yep.
But coming back into, I left a you know, I left a Charlottesville, Virginia that was in political upheaval, but in a country that was on the verge of a historical election. So it did, I hate to say it, but excuse me, it does it was nice to leave. It was very crazy, and it just so happened that right before they put me in prison, I watched a big fight happen in Charlottesville, and it was terrifying. And coming back into a country where I left Obama's America, and I came back into an America that had already had Trump as a president for a full year. So when even like just getting in the car and out onto the highway, I felt this. I had missed almost 2 years of American history. I wasn't there for it. So I feel like there's something missing in my American life, that I basically had 2017 and change taken from me. So I don't, but it's weird. I wouldn't trade any of those experiences for anything. You know, we go through this crap for some reason, that we volunteered ourselves to say that we didn't like something, and we got blowback. It's blowback, and it got really serious. And I think the only real way to deal with this is not tit for tat. It's to discuss it, and to calmly discuss the implications of it, because the implications of what has happened is far greater than this one case.
Yep.
It shows a willingness to toss reality out the window for the sake of a bias.
Brilliantly put. Very well put. Yes, yes, yes.
I've been contacted by by people in France and people in Denmark with similar stories. And even though I'm kind of, I'm not in good health, so I'm resisting taking on more stories. But the Anglesey case as well, to me, is huge. And Rupert's right, it's not just one case. There's another case actively going on at the moment. A little boy in Ireland put in care at 4, and at 15 got raped in care and ran away to England. And then he thought England was the Holy Grail and he was all safe. And then he's getting abused there as well. And it's literally like, I don't know. I don't know the answers. I know Rupert had some tweets, and maybe we'll share them in another video. I know personally that his targeting before he ever hit London soil was death threatening and horrendous, and that was not represented at all.
No, in my case, my harassment was glossed over in one little mention. So that just says to me that certain people allow for other people on the internet to troll other people to get them to react, so that they can just use it to their advantage. I don't care if that's your game. You can play that game, but don't have the nerve to call yourself fair.
Yeah. And what do you say? Like, I think with Alexi Mostras, who did a podcast, he's gone very quiet. I think these journalists, if justice is real, these journalists are putting the death knell in their coffins of their careers. If they go ahead and do a cover-up, it's a bit like the Franklin cover-up, the McMahon cover-up, the Presidio cover-up, the Rotherham cover-up. It's like, why, as a journalist or a human being, why would you do that to your career? Why would, like, just ask yourself, Rupert, the most pertinent thing you've said is they interviewed you for 4 hours and edited it down to 4 minutes, 6 minutes. Like,
that's normal though.
No, I don't think that's normal. I think that's a setup.
Angie, it's a little bit of a setup, but I didn't say anything incriminating. I did my best to make sure that I cleared my own name, because this is too much. I mean, this is way, what I'm saying is, and I knew it would be too much. It's not an adequate representation of what I just also wanted to say this. I'm not mad at England. No. I'd been there 2 times before. I've always been a fan. I don't want any of this bubbling over, but I do want the opportunity to say, and I've been given it here, thank you, to say my peace. This was not okay.
Yeah. Can I
Yeah.
just ask you, like, as a bottom line, because if they release this documentary accused, by Hampstead mothers whose lives were ruined, who never presented themselves for examination or investigation, and the investigation was non-existent, can I just ask you, in a nutshell, do you believe the children?
This is the question, but I feel like it's a question that shouldn't be asked of me. That's a question of everybody else who may find out about stuff like this. That's a
Okay.
question that they themselves need to answer.
Okay.
It is very difficult to see down the middle of an issue. And I think at this stage in the game, it is almost as incriminating what they have done after the fact.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
They
100%.
did not handle this appropriately.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. Do I want to believe something like that? No, but I saw it.
Yeah.
I whatever that was, I'm willing
Yeah.
to say it's anything that you say it is, but I can tell you how it made me feel, and I can
Yeah.
tell you that it made everybody else feel very squeamish, and they did not do a good job of cleaning that mess up. They threw certain people under the bus and completely sequestered others, and that may be just a decision that was made, but the question is, why was it made?
Yeah.
At the time, I just couldn't believe that material, which I had been exposed to prior, was coming from the source it came from. That was always my bottom line that no one has ever really asked me about.
Okay.
Why is that source material coming from that?
You mean an 8 and a 9-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did that happen? And I have raised my voice like this before on podcasts and been treated as though I am absolutely certifiable, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just the soapbox I'm standing on. I feel deja vu. I feel like we've had this conversation before.
Okay.
No, I'm not mad at you. Does part of me want what they said to be true so that there is some sort of justice launched back in the other direction? Absolutely. But unfortunately, and I think I'm quoting the rock star Billy Corgan, I think he said something like, you can't make people believe something that they don't want to believe.
Yeah.
And that is the crux of it for me.
Yeah. And literally, we can't force trauma down people's throats. It's like, literally, here's some dark truth. If you're not capable or not able to hear that, then that's not our problem, But the truth is, there's still, anyway, I don't want to get on a soapbox. Sabine, I want to hand it over to you. I think Rupert's been incredibly brave and forthcoming.
Thank you. And thank you. Is this the end?
No,
Oh, okay.
Sabine, I just want to see, are you still there, Sabine?
Of course I am. I am listening extremely attentively, and I really find your perspective absolutely fascinating, Rupert. I don't know whether prison makes everybody wiser, but
I'll just say, don't let that. Try your best. And listen, I've struggled with it too. And we could talk about this off the air, but I've struggled with it too, Sabine. The one thing I could say and I would say this to everybody, this was from one of my college professors, and he had an accent, and he said, don't take anything personally. Don't try not to take it. It's real hard when your name gets drug around, but these people don't know you like your friends know you. Don't try not to take it into your heart, and try not to take it personally. And that goes for this and for anybody's struggles in life. Try not to take those little things from other people personally.
Amen.
It just makes it so much easier to try to cope with your own observations.
Yeah, don't let them get to you. But what I have often asked people, what is worse, the original crime or the cover-up?
Yeah.
And it's pretty unanimous that everybody thinks the cover-up is worse.
And that could be
like just
that.
sorry, Rupert, sorry,
Sorry.
so sorry.
No,
But
no, go
just
ahead.
for new listeners, in terms of the cover-up, nobody was interviewed, nobody was asked to present, nobody was asked to debunk the children's accusations of tattoos and scars and birthmarks and piercings. Nobody's technology was confiscated until at least a year later. No crime scenes were forensically examined. The church, the Finchley Lido and crime scenes named by the children were refurbished all of a sudden, just refurbished. And a well-known BBC documentary maker went down to the crime scene that the children originally alleged, and he filmed the fact that connecting passages between the school and Christchurch, the church, were being filled in, and he got death threatened. He got taken aside by special branch in a pub in Hampstead and told, back off or you're dead. Also, Sasha Stone and Robert David Steele and this big ITNJ hearing in London were originally going to feature Ella Gariva testifying about the Hampstead case and cover-up. And then Sasha Stone on video has admitted that Special Branch visited him and said, we're going to let your ITNJ thing go ahead, but if you feature the Hampstead case, we will shut you down. And Sasha Stone said to Nilu Berry and others, no, sorry, we can't feature Ella, we can't feature Hampstead, and actually none of the Hampstead campaigners are welcome. You know, so like this is all documented. So I'm just anchoring this in reality. When Sabine and Rupert say, if you can't prove a crime while it's happening, you can prove it in the cover-up. The cover-up of Hampstead, which is still continuing with this soon-to-be-released documentary, accused the poor Hampstead.
Well, you know that the SRA is glossed over in the beginning. They don't go into it's not an expose on that.
No, it's
not.
a cover-up. It's a cover-up, and it's like, oh, you poor babies, you poor mommies. You know, Mr. Hollings built a 7-foot wall outside his Hampstead home with his Porsche, you know, and most of the teaching staff fled to Devon and taught in another school for a year until everything died down. So it's like we're not stirring up the embers. Channel 4 is, and Alexei Moss.
Good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And therefore, this is why I keep wondering who wants to achieve what with this film.
I'm telling you, it's a police hit. I'm telling you, people are tired of the police mishandling of things. I feel like this may not be geared to vindicate us, which is what we really want. But what is really going to happen is what I'm told is that the police are not happy about this.
Really?
Yeah.
So
why would they be? I mean, they took a person, they've taken people who didn't need to be that. It definitely did not. And I think some people think that's funny, but there's nothing funny about any of it.
But who would be who wants to get to or at the police then?
You never know. You never know. That's the weird thing. You never know what someone's true intentions are. Could be the director, could be the producer, could be somebody at Channel 4. It could be that they know that this sort of thing is going to be salacious enough for people to talk about it. So you never know but the main thing is they're trying to run something on TV that makes people go, oh my God. People are desensitized to this sort of, people are desensitized to so much now. This will be more of the same, I think, for people who are in constant consumption of media.
So it just adds to the desensitization and with a view to the making SRA normal?
I wouldn't go that far, but I can tell you that depictions of the oversaturation of what I would call satanic or metal music imagery on the internet, it's at an all-time peak. And I think, I don't know, it makes you wonder. I grew up in a church. I always grew up wanting to be a Jedi, not a Sith. Want to be a good guy, not a bad guy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I'm on this team, and these other people with their devil t-shirts and their 666s and their upside down crosses, I'm not scared of that stuff. I don't like it. I don't like it when I see it. I feel like it's overly represented in the media, and quite frankly, I find it dorky. It's nerdy, and it only exists in opposition to Christianity. All that imagery exists to supposedly get at Christians and make them uncomfortable. Well, I'm not made uncomfortable by that sort of stuff. You look weak. You're hiding behind scary monsters, and I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't need to hide behind scary monsters. I don't have to paint myself up like the enemy to make people scared of me to leave me alone. I just don't. That's not.
You don't need to pretend to be what is it, Anton LaVey or
yeah. What was that
Marilyn
Lucian
Manson
Gray guy? Those people are dorks. When they go, those people who go to the Church of Satan all dressed up and take themselves seriously,
I know.
those people are dorks.
I
They
know.
are cosplay dorks that feel like they're in touch with some. Yeah, get in touch with your dark side because that's good.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is I don't believe it's just a takedown of the police. I know there's a huge move to, in America, defund the police, and like across Europe, like discredit them. And like in many cases, they, like Steve Martin is a case in point. In many cases, they are worthy of debunking and prosecuting, really. But I actually believe it's bigger than that. I do believe it's just bigger than that, and I have to say that Channel 4 and Story Films and Melanie Abbott of BBC and Alexi Mostros, all those people, I actually suspect them of being cult members, because what would have you discredit children to such an extent? What would have you sell your soul to the mainstream media?
Well, I know what it is. It's these theistic Satanists. They don't like, because a lot of them aren't into like super, super dark stuff. They just like thinking about stuff differently. And I can understand like having different approaches theologically, because I've met some, I don't discriminate. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. Whatever, this is America. We believe in freedom of religion, and you're supposed to give each other a long leash to think what you want to think. But I think some of these people that clap back against this stuff are really clapping back against these ideas of actual SRA making them look bad. Because they're not, there's some people who are into that sort of stuff that just, they're in it for the music and the art, but it's not really like, they're not participating on some strange bloodlust level.
But the likes of Lucian Greaves, and before him, Michael Aquino, and different others, they are succeeding in satanic after-school play groups, and abortion is a satanic ritual privilege. Yeah. It's a religious privilege, and they're
not doing that right now. There's a lot of people who are not in that narrative over here has been shut down. Like,
please God,
very quietly, there's certain parts of America that just are not down with that, and they've been kind of quietly drawing a line in the sand, like, all right, so. What else are you gonna say?
I hope so. France has just recently introduced a bill to make it in their constitution that everybody should be allowed to have abortion. And Germany has long allowed bestiality. And I've got a Denmark person trying to contact me, and Denmark legalized child pornography, and you cannot make child pornography unless you use AI, but you cannot make child pornography without children being raped. But I don't want to end on a heavy note.
This is the part. These are the icky parts that
icky. And I
that's
want to
like that's the nasty stuff that
Yeah.
really like. That's why I got involved in the first place. I was just like, oh God, this is. You have some people out there have a constitution where they can sort of dig through all of these witness testimonies. It's just like at this stage in the game, if you have a video of a cop shooting somebody, I don't need to watch it. I just believe you.
Amen.
If you have a video of somebody doing like, you don't need to show it to me. I just believe you. I've been drugged through the mud.
Yeah, no. Listen, we'll do another show on your California experience, but I just want to give it to Sabine to close us out. I think we've done. Can I
just say, thank you for letting me on. Anybody who's like a hater of me, I didn't mean to cause any actual like fear in people. I didn't mean to come across like that. I'm just a fun American who got. I'm just saying, I don't want any ill will towards people out there. I don't want any more troll attempts, and I don't want any more of that. You guys are great.
Thank you, Rupert. And you might get trolled again. And because you come from a culture where, you know, legal carry is part of it, and most of your family carry guns. And, you know, if somebody's threatening to kill you, you think, well, I have a right to defend myself. I completely get that as a cultural thing. And I completely salute the fact that you are willing to stick your head above the parapet and go, wait a minute, something's not right here. You know, something's weird here. But Sabine, I want to hand over to you just to close us out. And thank you so much.
Well, Sabine. I mean, I find it extraordinary to hear you talk now, Rupert, because at the time we had met once, I think, but it came up in my court case that I had offered you a bed in my flat. So it was held against me.
That's funny. Like, how dare you help the American?
Yes, exactly. But of course, the other American who was so much more spoken is, of course, Christine Sands, who walked around Hampstead Christchurch shouting the URL, hampsteadchristchurch.com. Of course, the Brits wouldn't have dared to do that on a Sunday morning. But I don't think I did anything because I was German. I just did what I did because not to have done it wasn't an option. Yeah. I just to know what I knew from those children, from all of the paperwork that I had from their mother, and then not help her, and then not write the position statement, not write the petition and the blog. It just wasn't. I just wasn't enough. I just did what I needed to do.
Yeah. To do nothing is almost as bad. You know, it's complicit. This was amazing, and I'm so honored. And I think I would love to do another get-together threesome. I'd love to do another get-together online, and I'm really honored that both of you joined me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah, give me a couple of days to get it up online. But look, let's share this everywhere.
Bless you. Thank you, Angie. And good to meet you again, Rupert.
You too, sweetheart. It's good to see you.
Amen. Goodbye.